to Race to Win, a sailing podcast brought to you by raceQs.com. We review 3D regatta replays and analyze racing rules, tactics, and winning strategies. My name is Jakin, and today's podcast is about tacking, which, as I've mentioned in several previous podcasts, is the one thing you have to do that slows the boat down. Okay, to be fair, rounding the leeward mark also slows the boat down, but this podcast is about tacking. The goal of tacking is to absolutely minimize how much you lose in the tack. Alright, so we're going to review this replay, which is from an amateur Wednesday night series on Long Island Sound in One Design boats. And you'll see I have two boats selected and they're both about to tack. You'll also note that behind each boat's tack are the green and red trajectory lines that raceQs displays when a skipper is sailing in the groove, meaning that they have a pretty low variation in their heading and speed, and raceQs is able to compute a really meaningful average from that data. You'll also see that after each tack, neither one of them has a trajectory line until quite a ways after the tack. Okay, let me switch the view here, and I'll zoom in a little bit. And now I'm going to click on Alpha's trajectory line, and you'll see that they were sailing at 4.1 knots for a VMG of 3 knots. Whereas Bravo was going a little bit faster, but not pointing as high, also making a VMG of 3 knots. Alright, next I can click on the tacking icon. It's important to note before I discuss all the data here that that little tacking icon will only display if it's attached to a trajectory line. raceQs will not compute you as having tacked unless you were sailing in the groove either before or after the tack. Alright, so here's the tacking data for Bravo, and I'm just going to pause the replay here for a little while so we can talk about this, because there's quite a bit of data available here. First, I want to talk about the tacking angle. The tacking angle refers to the difference in courses between the average course the boat was steering before they tacked and the average course they were steering after they tacked. Now, different boats will have different tacking angles depending on how close they can point to the wind. But in this case, they tacked through a 93-degree angle. Next, you'll see the metric oversteering. Oversteering refers to how far below that tacking angle they went after tacking before coming back up to an average course and really finishing their tack and being on close hauled on the other tack. Now, a perfect tack will include some oversteering because you always want to tack to a speed build heading before coming back up to a full close hauled. Next, you'll see min SOG and min VMG, or minimum speed over ground and minimum velocity made good. And those are pretty self-explanatory. They represent the lowest point your speed over ground and VMG hit during your tack. The next piece of information is the duration of your tack, in this case 4 seconds, and that's how long it takes you to go through the 93-degree tacking angle. It does not describe how long it takes you to recover, meaning to get back up to your full heading and full speed. That's the next one, recovery. So in this case, it takes Bravo quite a bit of time to get back up to the same speed and heading that they were at, or rather not the same speed and heading, but the same speed and angle to the wind that they were at prior to the tack. raceQs then uses all of that data to compute how much time you lost in your tack. Remember, it's possible to gain ground directly to windward during a tack, so even if you have a poor recovery, you can still have a decent tack, which is what happens with Bravo here, only losing 4 seconds during their tack. Now, just for the sake of comparison, I'm going to switch recordings to Melges 24 Worlds from 2013 and show you a replay of one of the absolute best sailors in the world who was skippering this boat in Melges 24 Worlds. Now, the Melges 24 is notoriously difficult to find the groove when sailing upwind because it's a wide, round-bottom boat. But you can see here that this skipper has a trajectory line before and after the tack all the way up the course. He's in the groove the entire way. So let me just zoom out a little bit to make it clear how well he was steering throughout this race. Alright, now I'm going to zoom back in. And you can see that just after the tack, the trajectory line actually disappears. So just like anyone, he's at a speed build angle trying to find the groove. Now if I click the tack button, you can see that the tacking angle was just 73 degrees, but it still involved 16 degrees of oversteering. That's the speed build. But in notable contrast to the amateurs we were watching earlier, his speed over ground drops just 2 knots to 5.1 during the tack, and his recovery takes only 10 seconds relative to the 20 plus we were seeing with the amateurs. When it's all done, he's lost only 2 seconds during the tack. I know that's a lot of information to take in one podcast, so I appreciate your patience. Thanks for tuning in to the raceQs podcast. Make sure to leave us a review on iTunes and check out our website at www.raceqs.com/podcast. I'll be back in a couple weeks with more on tacking, so you'll have plenty of time to get out there, use raceQs, and analyze a few of your own tacks. See if you can get the time loss down to as little as possible. Thanks, and see you next time.